also see how popular Mr. President is in Ghana. When he was introduced at the Black Star Square, he got the biggest applause. Thank you, my brother. Thank you very much. So those were the key things. We're also looking at a possible direct flight from Accra to Ouagadougou at least once a day. There's an airline in Ghana that wants to start that flight. We've discussed the issue of AES and ECOWAS, and I've got new perspectives about the concerns that the three countries have in respect of their relations with.
You see, Traore has become the hero to Professor. I and him will drink coffee about Traore. But he's doing two good things, that he becomes an international icon. A young guy, younger than many of us. Traore has changed the price of uranium. France was buying uranium from Burkina Faso for $1 billion every year. He stopped the French to buy his uranium. Today, Burkina Faso is making 85 billion from the same resource. We are selling uranium here. We have no nuclear power. We are just talking, everything is nuclear. We are just selling. Whether the Chinese are paying us the best price or not, we don't know. We are also afraid. What if they walk out of this deal? But Traore, a young man, a soldier, has changed his country. That's why Traore is now building up factories, processing plants of agro-processing, because he has resources. We have these resources. When we say some of these things must not be said in the open, but let's drink coffee and talk about the future of our country, we don't listen to one another. So, Foreign Minister, may your door be open for further engagement, deeper engagement in the national interest of our country, so that we start running, because we are crawling. We must start running. And this country has an opportunity to penetrate Africa, to penetrate the world, but we must run in and we must talk to one another so that we get the country going.
Have overthrown democracies and are under military dictatorship. That should give us a pause for thought. That should make us think. And that should make us ask ourselves questions about why democracies die. And that's why the topic of today is relevant. What are the things we need to do to sustain democracy? Democracy will not survive by itself if we don't work for it. And like Omar Traore said, whatever system of government you have, autocracy, democracy, theocracy, whatever, if it does not deliver opportunities and prosperity to the people, it will not survive. And so the excitement of going back to democratic governments, by 2024, before we held elections, it was clear that the excitement had completely disappeared. Because all the Afro-Barometer surveys and all the other surveys they did, and in many of these surveys they added the question, do you prefer democratic government or would you support a coup d'etat? And it was frightening to notice that a lot of our young people said they prefer to live under a military government. And so that should give us pause for thought. And that is why I said that we need a reset of our democracies. We need a reset of our...
Love him, hate him, you cannot ignore this guy.
If he walked into this room, he'll greet you like this.
Oh, is it that?
He's young. He's in his 30s.
But also it is the messaging. Put Africa first. Welcome to Unanswered Questions. Now, this is all about doing that. Answering Africa's unanswered questions. And today we're going to start off with, what everybody is talking about.
Captain Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso?
Yes. Love him, hate him, you cannot ignore this guy. A very young, charismatic guy came into the picture in 2022. Yeah, just tell us a bit more about him and why. My goodness, everywhere you go, comments, views. Anything you do currently about Ibrahim Traore, you're bound to get a lot of engagement.
You use the right word, charismatic. If he walked into this room, he'll greet you like this.
Oh, is it that?
And he's young. He's in his 30s. And he ascended to power at a time when the average age of African leaders was more advanced, probably in the upwards of 50. But look at this person. He's 30s. He comes to power and has a message that resonates, hits the chord of every African from Algeria all the way down to South Africa.
Yeah.
So when you say he is charismatic, it's true. You look at how he was received in Ghana when he went to attend the inauguration of President John Mahama in January. Everybody literally was on their feet cheering this guy. And even Mahama acknowledged that he received the most cheers. So besides the messaging that he has, Africa first, we will rise, there is victory that is in the offing for us. He is also likable. He is young. The average age of African people is probably below 25.
Yeah,
so he has an audience, a huge audience.
And then what is this? I mean, again, you said one of the other important things is that charisma that he has, but also it is the messaging. Put Africa first. Let's take what is ours, sovereignty and all that kind of messaging. Why now? Why is that message resonating so much?
Look, in the last year thereabouts or two, there has been a serious, notable shift in terms of Africa's relations with the West. If you look at the West African part of Africa, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso are saying, look, we don't want French forces. We don't want French powers on our land. Côte d'Ivoire has also joined the trade, and it is saying that we will no longer use France as one of our major languages. Yes, it will be there, but it will not gain the prominence it used to get. And also renaming the streets after the local people. So this person, this president of Burkina Faso, comes in at a time when there is a widespread quest and hunger for autonomy in the African continent. And his messaging, like I said, is put Africa first, let us trade within ourselves, let us rise, let us empower ourselves to a point where we don't have to depend on the West. When he met Russia's President Vladimir Putin recently, he said, look, we don't want so much, we just want knowledge.
Technology transfer.
Technology transfer. From there, then, we will be able to lift ourselves up. Other than you giving us aid every other time, that will always keep us dependent.
All right, so the messaging, Africa for Africans. But I mean, we can talk about, all this, but is he walking the talk?
I know I'll be fried for saying it's both. Yes, to a great extent, and also there are some areas that he needs improvement on. And now we'll, of course, look at the data, because I don't want to speak from a point of opinion, but rather figures that will either back up what I'm saying or not. So if you look at the economy of Burkina Faso between 2010 and 2019, it grew consistently by 6%. Then there was a little bit of a downturn between 2020 and 2021 because of COVID-19. But again, in his first year as president, that was in 2023, because he came to power in September 2022. So in his first year, the economy rebounded. The inflation slowed from 14% in 2022 to below 1% in 2023. Meaning the prices of food, items, and basic commodities was almost manageable for everyone. That is something huge. And these are data or statistics according to the African Development Bank. And agriculture is a major player of Burkina Faso's food security quest. And you can imagine 80% of the land, they grow 3 crops, 80% of their farmland. That is sorghum, millet, and maize. Again, if you look at Burkina Faso's debt level, the African Development Bank classifies it as moderate, meaning it is not risking going into debt distress.
Kind of manageable.
Kind of manageable. There are many African countries, several, that are in debt distress currently. But the most important thing is that there was a very viral claim in March of this year that President Traore had paid off all the external debt, all.
Yeah, I saw that, and you know, it gained a lot of traction.
Yes.
And you know, every time I see this kind of things, I go and try and check some, you know, outlets where you know you can verify, but it wasn't an accurate claim.
Yeah, that claim was incorrect. If you look at what the African Development Bank and other international lenders say, by the end of 2024, Burkina Faso had an external debt of $5.6 billion US. That is by December 2024. And this claim was made in March. So does it mean that between December and March, Burkina Faso raised $5.6 billion US? There's the question. And when you look at the country's foreign exchange reserves, forex reserves, today as they stand, they're slightly below $1 billion US. So it simply means even if Burkina Faso used its entire $1 billion US to pay the external debt, they'll still be in arrears of over $4 billion US. So it is not true that Captain Ibrahim Traore managed to offset the country's external debt.
All right, welcome back. That was a speech from John Mahama, the president to South Africa. And I do really love this man because he's doing great. He is doing great. He's trying to act differently from other leaders of Africa because the only language of African leaders is about corruption. It's about fighting or oppressing their people. But they don't know, they don't even in extending terms in office. First thing they think of doing is to make sure that they go to once they go to that position, they're not ready to get out. They're not ready to get out. And if it comes the point where they found themselves getting out, it must be caused or brought with the chaos, you know, people or thousands of people being killed and everything. Now, this was said once by Professor Pierre Lumumba of Africa, of Kenya, that what is killing African continent is African leaders, because they love the entitlement of leadership than the leadership itself. They love to be entitled as the president of the country, and that is what is making Africa to be in this position it is today.
That leadership is not about titles. In the continent of Africa, we are quick to call individuals who occupy public office leaders. I don't. Leadership is about the ability to serve without expectation of any benefit. Until the day that we recognize that, our continent will never realize our potential.
That is what is still bringing Africa in this level of problems, of poverty, of corruption and everything. And if African leaders continue having this, if they continue having this spirit, for sure, Africa is going nowhere. Those people who are taking advantage of the African continent, those people who are making all this chaos and crisis to Africa, they will just continue doing this. And let me tell you something. Once we are still fighting, once we are still showing the world that we are not able to govern ourselves, then we are giving them more opportunities. We are giving them more reasons to do what they are doing. Because after all, we will fight against them, but they'll just sit down somewhere else watching us, how we are behaving. We are just when it comes to the time of election, we are not able to sit down and make our own choices. We are causing chaos instead of politics, instead of having politics. Going in an election to elect our leaders, we are going like it now has turned to like a war. Political in Africa is not a position. It's not a choice to the people for the people to make their choice. But it's a process like the people are going to war. That's why each and every time any African countries conduct election, we must experience all this conflicts, chaos, thousands of people losing life. They also who are going out to ask for justice, freedom, and transparency for the election, and asking the government to allow them having the right to participate in their democratic way. They're being shot dead. And that is what has been happening in Africa. And that's why I presented you the video of John Mahama, the Ghanaian president. It is because I remember one day he was trying to ask to speak to African leaders. And this incident happened during his inauguration. And he told them that the moment Ibrahim Traore was mentioned, the moment the name of Ibrahim Traore was mentioned, everyone stood up. People celebrated. People cheered the name of Ibrahim Traore. Yet he is a military leader. He's being called a democratic leader, unprecedented. And why the people show much love to him? Why people celebrate every time they hear the name of Ibrahim Traore, the captain of the president of Burkina Faso? Because they are trying to see leadership in this man. They are trying to see how this man is trying to shape Africa. How this man is trying to remind Africans that this is the way we need to go. If we need the best leadership, this is the way, and this is what we need to do for us to get what we need. Now, when will Africa continue behaving like this? Until when we will continue fighting ourselves, killing ourselves, just in the name of election, just in the name there is someone who is trying to secure his position as the president of the country? When will we continue doing this? It is the time, I think, that each and every African should wake up. And when we stand up to start doing or making these choices during the time of election, we need to know that after election, life has to go on. All these leaders who are causing chaos, let me tell you something. These are seasonal things. Elections will come and go. Life will continue. Politics will come and go. And the people who are coming to destroy our life, destroy our countries, and cause chaos and chaos crisis, and causing some people to lose their life, these are the leaders or the politicians who are not interested with the life. They're not even interested with what we are doing. They're not interested. They're not interested with anything. What they are thinking of is about being in that position as the leaders of the country. That's all they think about. So it is our responsibility to make sure that we are going to make this thing to happen at how it's supposed to be. We are going to make things to happen as how it's supposed to be doing, but not as how some people are planning for us to be done. That's the only way we will make African continent to be in a position that we want it to be. So for the longest time, we've been coming here to speak about African leadership, the political games and everything. But the question remains, for how long will we continue doing this? Because there is no need of each and every time we are going to for election, we must experience this death, chaos. Our country is being destroyed. And after that, the period, that's a period of election, when it passed, nothing's being done. They just assume, and it's like nothing has happened. And that is their nature. So John Mahama, I present the video of this man because he is doing great. He is one of the leaders in West African countries, but he's totally different from other leaders from the West Africa, because most of the West African leaders are against what is happening in Sahel, because they feel like for you to be a leader or a good leader, you need to be a democratic leader, but not just a leader who is doing your own thing, the things on your own. So this video I clearly represented because of what has happened in the country of Uganda, the country of Tanzania, and the country of Cameroon, and other countries in Africa, where elections has turned into war, which has resulted in many deaths of African youths who have been always just going out on the street to ask their voices, ask for justice, ask for freedom, and ask for independence. Be blessed. You're watching from Ireland. Appreciate you are doing great. Let me continue having a views in the comment section as we connect to the next episode, and be blessed.